Freo Faithful are stoked to have Revo Fitness on board for 2026. And look, when I heard that they had a $9.69 a week gym membership, I couldn't believe it, but it's true.
Full gym, everything you need. Free weights, pin and plate, functional training, cardio, and it's open 24/7. No dodgy fine print. For only $3 extra a week, you get unlimited Pilates, massage chairs, Evolt body scans thrown in. Like, mate, just join.
Clubs are already all over Australia, so there's a big chance that there's one near you. Head in and sign up in club or head to revofitness.com.au. That's REVO fitness.com.au. Get your fitness on and you'll be looking like a prime Nathan Fife in no time. This is the best value you will get in a gym membership. I wouldn't lie to you. Let's get into the episode. G'day guys, welcome back to the Freo Faithful podcast, episode number 54! Hello, Noah.
Is that how many games we've won in a row?
If you times it by 3 and add 2, it is.
That's good
It's
math
quick
by you.
maths.
But would you
Yeah.
like to know some fun facts to begin the podcast?
I love fun facts. Fun facts are fun. Hit me.
Let's go guess who has played 54 games for the Fremantle Dockers. Only one player ever, and they played in the 2013 Grand Final.
54 games. I'm going to go with, need another hint.
Think outside the box. They may have not worn the purple and white on the day.
Gary Kibbertson?
No, he definitely wore the purple.
No, he did
on
his
the day.
shoulder.
Yep.
Lockie Neal?
No, think outside the box. They may have been playing for the other team.
Brad Hill.
Bradley Hill, exactly right.
Okay.
And we've got another game that got suggested in our DMs to begin the podcast. Who got taken at pick 54 in our history? This is a fun one, don't you reckon?
Luke Ryan?
No, we'll go 2014, currently plays for Melbourne, winger,
Ed Langdon.
Ed Langdon. And then,
Nice.
These other ones are grim. 2020, his last name represents our state, like geographically, Western.
Joel
Weston. And 2021, one of the worst rucks we've ever listed. He goes by Roy.
Scott Jones.
No, Eric Benning. So that was a fun game. Thank you to whoever suggested that. But let's get into the football.
Nice. Hell yeah, 13 wins in a row. Optus was rocking on Thursday night, Noah.
Yeah, it was. It feels like it's rocking every week at the moment. It was a very, very fun night out. We were having a rave at quarter time. It was awesome. I'm not sure who was in charge of the match day experience at the Dockers on Thursday, but it was absolutely off its chops. And the football was too. I mean, accuracy, we can get into that. We've spoken about it a few times this season. It's something we can definitely clean up. And, early in that game, I was getting some 2013 Grand Final vibes, which we've already mentioned. Our keys just had the yips. But we cleaned that up well. And I think we all knew throughout that first half that, our process was good. We were playing good footy. It was just that one small thing we needed to clean up, and we'd run over the top of them.
100%. It did help that Bailey Smith didn't play and Tom Stewart didn't play. And I think we would have won anyway. Like the XG, we should have won by 40 or 50. And even like players after the game were saying we should have won that by way more than we did, which is just incredible confidence. But all season, like against St Kilda, they didn't have Nazaya. I can go back like Hawthorn, Barasco's out injured early. There's just been so many games where the Oppo's best has been out. North Melbourne, we would have won anyway, but Finn O'Sullivan was a laid out. So just, small things like that going our way a lot. Obviously, we want to play the opposition's best every week, but definitely one of the better players that Geelong could have thrown up against us. He gets their offense going. But they came out firing Geelong. Jack Martin was looking like a prime Michael Walters out there. Kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. And they were just dominating us out of the middle. We seemed to be getting our hands to it first. Jackson was hitting it down our mids' throats. But the way that they were pressuring that second possession, they were just getting their hands in there, cutting it off. And it was just repeat entry on repeat entry. They were really, I thought they had the game on their terms in that first quarter in particular.
Yeah, early on in their forward half, it was Jack Martin and the bloke from Buckingham Palace, Oliver Wiltshire, just making a name for himself. They were causing havoc to our defence, but you're right, it started in the contest, and I'm not sure if that's something they noticed in our game. Maybe there's something very small with our handballs that only AFL coaching departments pick up on, but I did notice that we changed the direction of our handballs probably from the second quarter onwards. We stopped going with the high loopy ones, which kept getting chopped off. I thought Murphy Reid had an amazing game overall, but really early on was turning the ball over a fair bit by hand. Even some of our best ball users were being caught out. They didn't really care if Luke Jackson was winning the hit outs early because he kept coughing it up with his first handball. And they didn't care if we got first hands on it. They were just pouncing the other way, and it really troubled us early. And I think it showed the real maturity within the group to sort of correct that from the second quarter onwards.
Yeah, we adjust. We don't show up to games anymore just with one mode that we can play. We can adjust our game style, which we did in the second quarter. So the 3 goals in the first quarter, Jackson soccers one off the deck. Colin Jasney just kept it in play when all he had to do was see it over, and it just set up beautifully. Goals were at a premium in that first half, so that was a vital one. Warner intercepted an outlet kick straight away. Just a great decision. Takes the mark, takes one step back and then goes bang, hits Jackson in the corridor. And Murphy Reid kicks that goal from about 47 metres out directly in front. And then Bossy from the boundary with an outstanding finish. It was a pretty poor day for goal kicking, but that one from Voss in the first quarter was elite. It felt like we were feeling the pressure a little bit in that first quarter. Geelong, obviously a very skilled outfit, very professional. They've been the benchmark of the competition for ages. It was a cold night. The conditions looked dewy, but Geelong weren't making any excuses for that. But there was one fella, Murphy Reid, who every time he got the ball, I thought, at least by foot, he was delivering the ball on a platter for our players. And we've become used to it now. We speak about Murphy Reid on the podcast every week. And, you look at that draft class. How did he slip to pick 17? Why aren't teams tagging him? Whatever. He's so good for a 19-year-old. We need to stop putting the age on him because Murphy Reid is now one of the best forward half players in the AFL as an entity, as a whole, not just in his draft class, not just as a small forward option. He's one of the most damaging players in the AFL in the front half right now. I'm pretty sure on the broadcast it showed a graphic, not sure the ins and outs of it, but as a general forward, his rating in the last 6 rounds is 5th in the AFL. So not your key forwards, just that the smaller types. Before that, he was 15th in the comp, and he's the second best kick inside 50 in the AFL right now. So not just a good 19-year-old kid that's going to have a great future, one of the best forward half players in the competition is who Murphy Reid has become in his second year of football.
All right, let's play another game. How big of a schmuck is AFL player ratings? This is a game we're playing. So you mentioned Naz earlier, right? He was the number 1 ranked player across round 15. He had, 44 disposals, 5 score involvements, whatever, Naz, you can have as much of the ball as you want. Murphy Reid, how highly do you think he was ranked amongst the competition in
no idea
round 15? 109. He was the 109th best player. Andrew Brayshaw was the 110th best player in the competition in round 15. Wow. I'm just never referencing them on the podcast ever again. I apologize for when I did last week because Murphy Reid, we'll go on to Andy Brayshaw later. You were bigger on him than I was. I still thought he was very good. But Murphy Reid, we should speak about him again. Our weekly tradition.
Yeah.
At the start of the game, I noticed this straight away because I thought this was going to be the game where Geelong went, right, he's getting no space, he's going to get clamped. And Mark O'Connor started on him at centre half forward. And I thought, this could be the job. Mark O'Connor doesn't usually tag, but it's still a bit of an interesting matchup. Within 2 minutes, O'Sheen Mullen's gone onto Murphy Reid. And I've thought, okay, here we go. O'Sheen's given Murphy no space around the contest. He can't move around. It was very noticeable. That lasted for 5 minutes. And then they just let him off the chain. And I reckon that was just, Chris got into the science lab probably for 3 minutes at the start of the game, just experimenting around a little bit. What will work with Murphy Reid? Where can we get on his bad side and whatnot? And then just put it in his pocket for when they play us later in the season. There are some stupid narratives going around at the moment in terms of this game. The umpires won the game for us and whatnot. But I genuinely think Chris Scott's just tried a few things throughout the game, put it back in his pocket. He's okay to lose this one. And he's going to come out with some different tactics if we play each other again in September. Because Murphy Reid was given far too much space. Like, I think any football fan can see that. You can't let a bloke as damaging as him just run around and do whatever he wants.
I highly disagree with this narrative. I think it's absolute bullshit. Yeah. Well, so, all right, we're just not going to try to win this game of football. We're not going to try to press up and get into the top 2 spots on the ladder. If they had have won that, they would have been a win off Sydney. Like, we'll just not limit the most damaging player on the field right now. I think it's pathetic. I think Mullen had a shit game.
He did. That's correct.
Like, yeah, they maybe could have clamped him a little bit more, but as if you're not going to come in with the most statistical informed decision to go to a player like that. I think, Bolton had 18 disposals, so they've obviously gone to work on him because he usually has, high 20s, but I just think we outplayed them. We had the game on our terms for the last 2.5 quarters, really. I hate the narrative that, when they come up against Geelong in September, they'll make sure to stop Luke Jackson. We've played him twice this year, and Luke Jackson's been best on ground twice. Pathetic narrative that people are coming out with saying, they kept their powder dry. Honestly, it's just so stupid.
No, I think both things can be right, though. Like, I don't agree with what Geelong are doing. If they're doing that?
No, but Chris Scott said it in the post game. He said in the post game, he's like, "No, we didn't hold back." Maybe he's just saying that.
Chris Scott
for smoke and mirrors,
but for telling the truth. Like, honestly, so Luke Jackson, you can't stop. Like, that's just a unavoidable human unicorn. Like, you cannot stop him. Murphy Reid, I think you can put time and effort into him, and I think you'd be able to clamp him, given he's never received a tag before. Like, every good player goes through it. When they first receive a tag, they can't usually get around it. I think Geelong will have plans for him in September, and I don't agree with it, as I mentioned, but they have been contending for so long. I think they know their way around this part of the competition more than any other team. So I don't agree with it, but I do buy into the narrative.
They didn't put a tag on Murphy Reid for 5 minutes to say, are we going to do this in September? Bolton was just dancing out of stoppages, so they probably put more impetus on him. It's not, let's try this for 5 minutes. All right, now go do what you want. Like, there's a lot of informed decision-making that goes into matchups on game day. I don't like the narrative at all that Geelong kept their powder dry. I think it's number one bullshit. You go into a game to win it. And if things are hurting you in a game, you fix it. I don't think they could fix it because we dominated them from halfway through the second quarter onwards. So that's where I sit with that narrative personally. I thought Murphy Reid and Patrick Voss were our 2 most important players in the first half because we were so fumbly and it just looked like we were, feeling the pressure a little bit, but Vossi wasn't doing that. He was taking on tackles, laying big don't argues. He kicked that goal from 52 metres out on a tight angle. And when other players were a little bit jittery or had the yips in front of goal, it was Murphy Reid and Voss who were playing with high levels of confidence that sort of set the standard, and then the rest of the boys came with them. So that's how I sort of saw the first half overall, or the first quarter in particular. And in the second quarter, Voss comes and lays that massive tackle on Mullen. And I think that's enough to put a player off their game. Like, if you are tagging, just come and let them know. Let that physical presence be felt. And that's definitely something that this Freo Dockers side does. So that's, sort of where I sit on the first quarter and a half of play.
Can I go in a different direction here? I think that was Luke Ryan's most influential game of the season.
Nice. Talk to me.
I thought he was outstanding, and you know how critical I am of Luke Ryan's decision-making and whatnot. I thought that was the smartest game he's played of the entire season, and I think that back line was so good in sort of making that a good game of football for the neutral. I think they rebounded straight away. As soon as we intercepted, we used the ball straight away. We got into the right position. I thought Luke Ryan, I thought Carl Warner, Jordan Clark, Judd McVie, they were all getting into the right positions on the half-back line. Alex Pearce, obviously astonishing. 11 marks, 11 intercepts. He was great on the last line of defense. Brendan Cox was a nice supportive piece. But I thought our back line just used the ball quickly, efficiently, and particularly in that first half, when it was essentially a game of ping pong. Geelong were coming at us quickly. We were going at them quickly. we used, Luke Ryan and Carl Warner and those types of halfbacks, they were responsible for using the footy and keeping the game moving. And I thought they did that fantastically. So I think it's a really easy comparison to the Brisbane game we got smashed in late last year, where it was a really hot game. It could have been a game of ping pong if it wasn't for our back half users being in their shell and sort of timid. I think that's a massive change in mindset and a massive growth in maturity from our back group. I thought they stepped up to the occasion really well, and I thought they were a big piece in why we were still in the game at halftime despite our inaccuracy.
Yeah, I like that. We saw on First Crack that Freo's handball game has gone up through the roof, and that's the sexy stat that everyone likes to speak about. I don't particularly love it, but it was a mode that we went to. We took the game on, drawing the defender and releasing the handball. Jordan Clark was making those darting runs as he always does. Judd McVie did it a couple of times. The corridor kick that we saw from Carl Warner in the first quarter. So, yeah, I'll rate that call from you. It felt like we didn't quite get it right in the first quarter, not just with the loopy handballs, but it felt like we were so attacking. It felt like we wanted to take the game on through the corridor, but Geelong were just pressing forward, bringing the pressure, and it felt like, we have that mode, but it felt like Geelong had the answer to the mode and they were capitalising off it. I love when we move the ball wide by foot, like when we make the width of the ground use, like we'll take an intercept mark and then we'll just sort of ping it into the middle of the ground. It'll be kicked around from Luke Ryan and Cox or Warner, whoever it is, and just sort of change the angles up. I love when we do that. It's controlled footy, classic build-up play. So love to see that. Another second quarter highlight, Shea Bolton almost kicked the guitar man off the roof of Optus, touched the heavens. How was that in the flesh?
Oh, the mark. Was that in the second quarter?
Yeah.
Jeez, it felt like way later in the game. That was ridiculous.
I think it was the second quarter.
Yeah, well, I don't care when it was because we're going to talk about it one way or another. That was one of the silliest things I've ever seen on a football field live. The last time I saw something that silly, I think back to Sarong's goal of the year a few years ago in the Derby. Sarong's so right, but that was on a different scale. Like, it's not often you see these freaks of nature in person, unless you're a Fremantle or Melbourne fan and you watch Shea Bolton and Cozzy Pickett every week, because they are just... Yeah, Shea was amazing. His 18 disposals, you mentioned earlier, they clearly went to work on him in the contest. I still thought his 18 disposals were really influential. And then to do something like that mark of the year, about 90 from goal, that is mark of the year, by the way. I'm just going to call it that. Like, to do something like that, to lift the crowd when we're already down, and then for Geelong to rebound out and take a slips catch while on the floor to get the crowd back up and about, like, they're the sorts of plays. You mentioned Voss barreling into Mullen earlier. Josh Tracy did a similar thing in the second quarter as well. These types of things just lift the stadium when your team's down by 4 or 5 goals. And that mark from Shea Bolton, it was definitely his best mark this year. He took one a few weeks ago where he didn't get quite up as high, but his body was at full extension. And it was so clean. What a grab.
Just sat on Boss's head. Great analysis.
Yeah.
Love that. And it kind of did turn the tide because up to that point, we'd missed 9 shots on goal in a row, something like that. It was 7 behinds in a row. And Jai Amos completely missed the big 6. I think it was twice. So I'm going to go with we missed 9 shots on goal in a row. If not, in pretty much out of 10, 11 shots, we missed 9 of them. Bolton takes that screamer. We eventually get an inside 50, and it's the most jammy goal you've ever seen on the goal line from Paddy Voss. It could have been touched, to be honest, but it wasn't. And then straight away, the punch-in bunch came. It was only 1 goal, but Sarong gets we get the clearance. Sarong kicks it inside to Josh Tracy, who didn't have his goal-kicking boots on once again. Been pretty inconsistent in front of the 6 recently, Josh, but from 50 metres out, he goes bang. And I was streaming the game with Jamo, and I just said when we were 5 goals down, I'm happy with how we're playing. We haven't lost belief at all. But heading into halftime, you don't want to be 5 goals down. So let's just get a couple of back and we'll be right. And that's exactly what we did. We kicked 2 goals, 7 points, so it was pretty much 3 goals in a row. We went into halftime in a much better position and well on top of the ball game.
And I was very happy that happened as well because, it gets to halftime, I open my phone, I check my group chats with my friends, and there's a video of us two with 8 laughing emojis on it. And I'm thinking, what could this possibly be? And I open the video, and it's me saying, grand final on the line, I want Jai Amos to kick a goal. And then it cuts to you going, grand final on the line, I want Josh Tracy. So yeah, that got a run around. And then those two just stood up in the second half and put on their kicking boots, which was very satisfying. But yeah, it was so important. You just needed one to go in. Like, we all knew we just needed one goal to go through for the floodgates to kind of open in front of the Sticks. And the crowd, yet again, this is something we haven't seen since our glory days under Ross, where we are 4-5 goals down. I don't even know if it happened then, where we're so far down, yet the Freo chant breaks out, and there is such incredible belief within the stadium that we are going to win a game of football. It happens every single home game. I just can't explain it. There's this feeling every game. We can go as far down as we want, but the entire stadium knows that we're coming, and it's such an amazing feeling. So the Freo chant got going in the midway point of the second quarter. We were down by 5 goals. We kicked away towards the end of the second quarter, and then the third quarter kicked in, and not a lot changed in terms of general play. I thought our process was very much the same. We were just finding our forwards in better positions and converting far better. So yeah, honestly, I think the entire 4 quarters, if we converted, we would have been saying that was one of our best 4-quarter performances of the season. I think it was a very, very small Achilles heel in the grand scheme of things.
I like it. Shout outs to the Freo Faithful at Optus, bringing it every week. You can see how much the players appreciate it. Like they say, we are the best fans in the league. Every player at every club would obviously say that, unless you play for North Melbourne or Essendon. But
the Bunbury fan base was good, mate. Don't disrespect them.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like you said, 5 goals down. I haven't been to a game at Optus since the Gold Coast game last year, obviously living over here, but I've been thinking back recently to times when we were dockery, when we were shit, when we were just mid-table, we'd, jump up and win the odd one, but we were just so inconsistent. And it reminds me, like, what you just said of the fan base bringing the support. Back in the day, we'd just get frustrated as fans, and you'd hear the jeers around the ground like, oh, fuck, this is so just classic Freo. What are we doing? We're shit. We're inaccurate. We were like that for so long, but we've genuinely got our eyes on something special here, and I think the fans know their part that they play in it. Kane Corn said that it's the biggest home ground advantage in football, which is huge rap. So, yeah, not to be understated. Shout outs to the best fan base in football. And shout outs to the Freo Faithful people watching at home because you're a part of that. The third quarter. Do you know what they call the third quarter, Noah? The Premiership quarter.
Yeah, there you go. Took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. So from the midpoint of the second quarter to the end of the third quarter, we go on a 60-14 run, and we kicked 10 goals straight. So from going 0-7 from set shot, whatever it was, to 10 goals straight, in the blink of an eye, we were in front after being 5 goals down. Erasmus assists Jackson, who was left by himself in the goal square. Great power to left dry Geelong, just leave a 7-foot mobile ruckman to just run to the goal square by himself. That's tactical genius, Chris Scott. Terrible narrative. Never want to hear it again. And then Erasmus kicks on himself, which was nice. Cox with the tap to Sarong. Just great stoppage craft. Great to see Sarong back on the scoreboard. And then one of the more pleasing goals and an unsung hero of the night so far, Nathan O'Driscoll. I thought his first half was really strong. He was just clean, just really solid. And then the ball gets kicked out of defensive 50 from the Cats. It's an awkward one for O'Driscoll to deal with. He sort of just keeps it in front of him. It bounces off his shin. A Geelong player gets it and tries to ping it to the far side. In that moment, if you watch the replay back, O'Driscoll off the ball goes to run into the corridor, defends the corridor. Tracy cuts off the kick as it's going across. O'Driscoll holds. Brayshaw wins the footy. And then O'Driscoll just makes this darting run to get the ball to Dudley, who then snaps a great goal. that goal doesn't happen without Nathan O'Driscoll. He stops the first counter-attack. He then goes and cuts off the corridor for any potential move to go through there. And then the phase of play changes. O'Driscoll gets the footy in his hands, makes a darting run, and sets up Dudley. So that run of 4 goals was incredible. But yeah, just it shows, that goal in particular shows the growth of Nathan O'Driscoll, particularly on the defensive side of the ball and knowing when to go.
Yeah, it's interesting how he's the winger always on the last line of defense. Like, we always speak about Freddie and Raz's two-way running, but Noddy, his two-way running so extreme that he can find himself either on the last line of the forwards or the backs. He just covers so much ground. And another thing I noticed about him was, I've spoken a fair bit about this season how he doesn't get caught on his right foot anymore. Like, he's always arcing on his left, and that's been a massive improvement in his game. He got caught on his right a couple of times on Thursday, but instead of just relying on a dump kick on the right or trying to force it onto the left and just creating a really low quality option, he's backing himself with a couple of extra steps to get around his opponent and backing himself that he's quicker than his opponent and getting himself back on his left. And to use it well inside 50. So it's just these small developments in Nathan O'Driscoll's game that I'm noticing. I think we're all noticing it. And he is having some sort of season, given how far down the pecking order he looked in the preseason. He got picked in round 1 out of nowhere, found himself out of the team, and then just worked his ass off to essentially put himself in the best 23, knock Corey Wagner out of a spot, which was incredibly stiff, but the right decision in the end. He's putting together some season, and I'm so happy for him.
The boys on Purple Rain interviewed him after the game, and they made the point of like how massive it was for him to keep his spot this week. It was probably him in the past that just would have been dropped out, but he was the one that got to keep his spot, and now he's in the best 23. So that's massive for his confidence. You can't speak about the third quarter without speaking about Andrew Brayshaw, who had 16 disposals. You thought he was a little bit sort of undisciplined, I suppose, or not super effective with his ball use. Obviously, overall positive. But I just want to get your take on, yes, very good quarter, defensive pressure, great, tackling, great. But how did you see it from the ground?
Yeah, well, you basically hit the nail on the head with my thoughts on it. He gave away 2 50s, which I thought were really dumb in really crucial moments of the game. But overall, in the context of this discussion, we were splitting whether to give the 3 votes to Luke Jackson or Andrew Brayshaw. So, in pretty high regard were we speaking about him. I thought the 50s were dumb. I thought he did a few weird things with the ball, but at the end of the day, I'm splitting him with a ruckman who had 28 disposals and 3 goals. So overall, amazing game. 16 disposals in the third quarter, just an absolute menace. But that being said, I still think he should go to Tassie. I think we could get a couple first round picks for him. And I just think it'd set us up well for the future.
It felt like a lever was pulled at halftime. The Geelong mids didn't really have too much defensive accountability one-on-one, and I think we found that through Brayshaw. He seemed to be the facilitator on offense, not only getting the ball around the contest and the stoppages, but spreading out wide to find the footy on the wings. And it felt like he just got the license to roam. It felt like that defensive role, which he still played with his two-way running, but he was able to just roam wherever he wanted to. And he gave away 2 50s. And obviously you don't want to give away 50s at all, but he was just possessed. Like, I can't remember seeing a game where he was just more... I don't know, he was so entrenched in every contest and every stoppage. Like, he gave away a 50. I think he pushed over Mullen, or I think it was Mullen that got the 50 and kicked the goal. But but like, put a body on him. Like, we want to be that team that you have to earn every mark. Like, if you want to mark the ball, we're going to split you in half so that when you do mark it, you feel it. And when, he's manning the mark, he's going to come right up and take as much as he can, just so you don't have that space. So I get it that like it was frustrating to give away them 50s, but that manic pressure, it set the tone. So I'm for it, and I think that is the best game I've seen from Andrew Brayshaw since his AFL MVP year, to be honest. Wow. He was so influential. Yeah,
I don't disagree. I mean, I'd have to go through every Andrew Brayshaw game since that year, but he was amazing. And I can firmly get behind that call. And I think what's being overlooked is how bad he was in round 1 against Geelong. He had 14 disposals in that game. Looked so far off it. I reckon he had no touches in the last quarter when we got overrun. So I reckon even in his own head, he's probably thinking, that's our only game we've lost this year. That was by far my worst game, probably of my career, given how highly regarded I am around the competition. I'm just going to go out there and be a man possessed, as you mentioned. And that's exactly what he was. A 21 disposal difference. I think he led the team in pressure acts. So, he was just amazing.
Before we get back into it, I just need to give a quick shout outs to Revo Fitness, because $9.69 a week for a gym membership is unbelievable value, and we think more people should know about it.
No lock-in contracts, no hidden fees. You just rock up and train. Free weights, cardio, functional training, and it's open 24/7, so you've got no excuse not to go. And if you want to go full send, for only $3 extra a week, you can get unlimited reformer Pilates, massage chairs, and eVolt body scans. Just $3 extra. That is it.
They've got clubs all over Australia, so head into your nearest one or head to revofitness.com.au. That's REVO fitness.com.au, and you'll be as fit as the Dockers boys in no time. So he had 14 disposals in round one, and he had 16 disposals in the third quarter of this game.
Oh my God.
So, fair impact for Andrew Brayshaw, and it was maybe one that he took personally. You mentioned Luke Jackson there. He just is the best ruckman in the competition. I don't want to hear any more, Brodie Grundy this, Brodie Grundy that. Are you seeing Brodie Grundy kick 3 goals a week and get 30 disposals and dominating the skies with the hitouts? I don't think you are. He's too athletic for traditional rucks. Mitch Edwards had no chance going with him. Blixarves, who you'd think would be a good matchup, couldn't really go with him. And look, if we do face Geelong in the finals, maybe Blixarves does go to him. But he's a great player. He's elite. He can take you to the forward line and damage you. You might be able to, equalize a little bit, but the talent that he has, he's going to get off the chain at some point, and that's exactly what he did against Geelong. So, we've said everything about him. He's clean below the knees. He can go forward. He's basically like another midfielder in there when it hits the ground, but what a game it was from big doggy dog.
We're saying the same thing just 13 weeks in a row now, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm kind of noticing this. Murphy Reid's really good in the forward half. Luke Jackson's really good in the ruck. Josh Tracy's really good in the forward line. Yeah, we know. We do know this. It's a bloody good feeling. And you were just saying best ruck in the comp. Why not best player? Why isn't he in that discussion?
He's up there.
I don't think he's the best player. I want to put that out there. But he's firmly in the discussion, and he is coming for that mantle in the Bonds and Pellies and the Heenies of the world. And Jordan Dawson, I'd probably put in that category. So, it's rare that he is in. And imagine Melbourne still had him and Max in the same team. I've thought about that a few times in recent weeks. I reckon Melbourne fans probably think about it a fair bit more than me. Imagine Max rotating with Luke Jackson, knocking it down to Cozzy Pickett. They did 10 flags in a row.
Oh, that's right. We got Sean Darcy. He's coming back.
Yeah.
Amos had the yips all night, which was freakish and concerning. Don't want to see that become a trend later in the year, particularly in September, because that can cost you games. Inaccuracy could be the thing that underdoes us later in the year. So we need to suss that out. I'm sure Amos and Voss right now, they're probably at training as we speak, kicking some goals. So have full faith in what the boys are doing. But he finally gets one when Sam Switkowski hit him up in the third quarter, straight in front, goes back and kicks it. Gets another one late in the third quarter, tough angle, about 50 metres out, goes back and kicks it. And he kicked our last quarter of the game. I think we only kicked one goal in the fourth quarter, and it was that snap that Voss bellied, Amos marked, and then finished. So Amos ends up kicking the last 3 goals of the game for us. After having the yips. So good for his confidence after not seeing him go through. I just wanted to quickly mention Sam Switkowski's game as well. We've been speaking about him. I think he's in career best form at the moment. He's out of contract. Apparently, we've offered him a 2-year deal. Super loyal to the club. We took him out of Box Hill as a mature age player. So he obviously feels like he owes a lot to us. But he was another one. I feel like Murphy Reid and Paddy Voss sort of rose. And that the players rose to their levels. And I think Sam Switkowski was one of the first of the team to really get going, calm with the ball in hand. His positioning is always elite. And then to hit up Amos in that moment, I thought was big. And then in the fourth quarter, right at the end of the game, to go back with the flight when Geelong had one last roll of the dice, had no business getting to that ball. And the courage for a man that has had a lot of, history with concussions. I'm sure in the split seconds moment when he's going back with the flight, that's going through his head, but just shows how selfless and team first he is. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Sam Switkowski as well.
I don't reckon that was going through his head, to be honest. I think he's just one of those players where once he crosses the white line, he's just all in. And that's probably to his detriment. Well, no, it's probably to his detriment with all the concussion issues he's had. But I don't think neither of us would understand it. Like, we are both competitive beasts behind the microphone. But in terms of on the football field, I just don't think we've got the same level that some of our boys have.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to put Switkowski into a discussion where I don't reckon a lot of people have put him. The position we're in at the moment in the AFL is ridiculous in terms of the AFL ladder. Like, we are so far entrenched in the top two with, let's say, like, not long to go. Like, there's a very, very low chance we drop out of the top two from here. We're 4 points clear at the top. We will start managing players, whether that's in games or actually just managing them for an entire game. Like, that will happen eventually, whether JL says it or not. I'm thinking sort of Luke Jackson's in that discussion, Josh Tracy's in that discussion, Alex Pearce is in that discussion, those types of key pillars. Do you put Sam Switkowski in there? Because we look at that Gold Coast game last year without Sam Switkowski, how easily they were moving it out of the back half. Now, it's hard to compare to games last year now because we're such a different team, but how easily they were moving it out of their back half and how many points they scored from the back half that game without Sam Switkowski. Do you put Switter in that conversation in terms of management and having him cherry right for finals? Because he is in such immense career best form at the moment. I just don't think you can afford to lose him for a must-win game late in the season.
Yeah, that's a good call. He'd be right up there with Alex Pearce, I'd say. Them two, some of the older heads at the club. Jackson, he's going to play every week, but yeah, we do have to start looking at the long term now. And the players talk about 1-0. We're not looking ahead, but there's obviously players that, do need to be managed. So good call. Let's speak about Alex Pearce, our captain, makes it to game 150. It was the slowest 150 games I can remember seeing. I think you made a post saying Peter Bell was slower to 150 games, but that was probably because he had a big stint at North Melbourne in the middle there, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yep, correct.
Yeah. So Alex Pearce, one club player, 11 intercept marks, massive in the fourth quarter. When they were coming, we were under the pump. They had a lot of the play in the fourth quarter, but Alex Pearce just as strong as ever down there.
I reckon he took like 8 of those within 2 minutes of each other. I mean, that's probably an over-exaggeration, but there was a couple-minute patch where Geelong had heaps of inside 50s in a row, and Alex Pearce was just clunking every single one of them. And they kept on being rebounded back in, and Alex Pearce just marked it again and again. He is just such a mammoth down there. In terms of guys we cannot afford to lose for must-win games, I mean, he won't play every game for the rest of the season. That's just a fact. Like, it's Alex Pearce at the age of 30. We're going to have to deal with that. But, yeah, Oscar McDonald's played good football this season, but there is nothing you can do to replace a guy with the stature of Alex Pearce down there. But I think that was the team I saw on the weekend was the best 23 I think I've seen live in my lifetime in purple. Like, I think that's 100% true. Like, we're a fully healthy list at the moment, and that was just along with his best 23 that he picked out there to win that game of football. And I spoke about a few weeks ago how I always forget how good Hayden Young is until he comes back in. Shea Bolton was very average last year, but you forget how good he is until he hits his straps like he has this year. And then Oscar McDonald can play good football, but Alex Pearce can play elite football. He's one of those players you just forget how good he is until he's got his presence back down there. So, these players all playing in the one team, it is truly a blessing to watch as a Fremantle fan at the moment. And he was mammoth on Thursday.
100%. I just wanted to quickly bring up a narrative that I haven't heard anyone speak about across any football show. One of the most damaging forward half players right now in the AFL is Sean Manor, and he did not impact that game at all.
Yeah.
I don't know who was playing on him. Maybe Jordan Clark. Did you see who he was playing on at the ground? Because he kicked 5 goals against Brisbane. Teams have had absolute nightmares trying to sort this guy out, and he was just a non-factor, which I don't think's been spoken about at all.
No, I didn't see who matched up on him, but you make a good point because when I checked the AFL up after the game, he was right down the bottom in terms of every single statistic. So yeah, he had a really quiet game. He went through a bad patch early in the season as well, so it's not been the most consistent season from Sean Manor, but he's coming off a few weeks of playing some very, very good footy for the Cats. So yeah, it was very handy having him shut down, given how influential he is. And Jeremy Cameron and Shannon Neal didn't necessarily get going at their heights.
Oh, Shannon Neal was very solid. I think Jeremy Cameron was beaten up. He looked very sore. How was that 50 that Neil Erasmus gave away when he's 20 metres away from the Shannon Neal mark? Umpire calls at 50. That's the first, really bad umpire call this year that's affected us. When it's against your own team, it makes you seethe.
Against Geelong too, it just brings back the PTSD of free kick before the siren, 2013 qualifying final, just those sorts of just horrific things that umpires have done to us over the years. But you're right, we haven't had too many that really influential things go against us this year. I still think we are second last in the comp for free kick differential. So it's not like we've got in the rub of the green this year, but yeah, that was quite annoying.
Just hasn't been bad umpiring, but we closed the game out. We get the win. The XG should have been plus 45 Freo. The inaccuracy did hurt us in that first half, but we just found a way. We believed. We're trusting the process. We're trusting the system, and we're witnessing history yet again. So all that Vic bias, all the shit we've copped over the years, we can shut them all up because we've now beaten every Victorian team. We've beaten every team we've played against this year. 13 wins in a row. That's a West Australian club record. So West Coast, you can't hear their chirp. The Victorian clubs, you can't hear their chirp right now. And all they've got to say, Noah, you're peaking too early. Right. So what should we be doing then? Should we just be throwing games? Should we just be losing games? When you win so convincingly every week, the only thing that people can say is, you're peaking too early. All right, let's just go and bottle 4 games in a row, shall we? Let's just start losing games of football. Pathetic.
Who's got more flags, mate? We've got 4 flags, mate. 18, 96, 06. We got more flags, mate. That's all I can say. Their comebacks are pretty dire. The peaking too early argument is one of the... I've never seen it get more of a run than this year. I've never heard it spoken about more than this year.
It's because all they've got. It's the only thing that they can say about Freo right now, because our handball game's coming along, our defensive profile's stacking up, we're kicking loads of goals, we're coming from behind to win, we're finding ways to win games when we're probably not at our best. So all they've got, peaking too early. Jog on.
And if we are peaking right now, right, we got round 16 coming up this week. Not long to go. If we start peaking round 16, 17, 18... we can continue that to the end of the season. That's how long a peak typically goes for a top tier side. So if we are, so be it. Who cares? I'm happy to peak now. But in terms of too early, dumbest narrative going around at the moment, I personally think it's dumber than Chris Scott keeping his magnets in his pocket. It is so stupid. We are just finding different ways to win. If that was our peak on the weekend, we're not winning the flag. I've said it all year after these wins.
Yeah.
We have not peaked yet. Our goal kicking was dreadful. If we turn up on grand final day and kick like that, we've got a preview of that because that happened in 2013 and we didn't win the premiership. So, we haven't peaked yet. We've still got so long to go, so far to go in our game. I don't even think our best 23 settled yet. I think there's every chance Corey Wagner's back in the best 23 by September. Different things will happen to this team. Different sort of magnets will be moved. I've said it all along. I think there'll be a random player that comes along late in the season and gets a run of games because that's just what tends to happen. There's so much water's going under the bridge, and I think people just need to settle down in the AFL world.
100%. And look, maybe we don't win the flag this year. Personally, I think we're going to walk it in. But, look, we might lose a prelim by a couple of goals to a really good side like Geelong or Hawthorn or Sydney. Brisbane might get going and they might beat us. But right now, you can't say, oh, you're peaking too early. And then we lose in a prelim or a grand final. Oh, you're a shit team. See, you shouldn't have played good football in July because you lost by a couple of goals in a prelim. It is just a nothing narrative. It's a hater mindset. And I'm not having any of it. So do one. All you silly people.
Modern day
anyhow, Yeah. Morabito medal. Talk to me.
The Morabito medal, this is a few weeks in a row now. We have just had a sweep of votes. Our votes, so this was the discussion we had earlier. You wanted Andy Brayshaw for 3. I wanted Luke Jackson. And I won. Luke Jackson came in with the 3 votes. Andy Brayshaw 2. And then we tossed up between Murph and Moose, but we did give the 1 vote to Murphy Reid. Wolfie Wednesdays, Zach from there. 3 votes he gave to Andy Brayshaw, 2 Luke Jackson, 1 Murphy Reid. And then the fans gave 3 to Luke Jackson in an absolute landslide, by the way. He had the most votes anyone's gotten this season, to Andy Brayshaw. And then 1 Murphy Reid. But Carl Warner nearly snuck in with the 1 vote on the fan vote.
He was great.
Enough.
He was incredible. We haven't even spoken about him, but yeah, he was unreal.
He was awesome. But Murphy Reid and Andy Brayshaw have both just shoved Caleb Strong out the top 3. Murph moves into 3rd. Andy Brayshaw equal 3rd. And then rounding out the top 5 is Caleb Strong and Jai Amos, both with 21. But Luke Jackson has not shut the half century. He has a 21 vote lead on the top of the Morabito medal. I don't really see anyone else winning it from here.
He's winning that BNF, isn't he? As well as the Morabito medal. And just before I come down from that little rage I have about people saying we're peaking too early, I'm not going to go again. But when JL says the streak means nothing, I understand what he means. Because the players in their minds right now, they're not thinking, oh, we need to keep the streak going. We've won 13 games in a row. We can't lose. Like, mate, we could lose 4 games in a row and we'd still be second. And all the teams below, you know, in that 3rd to 6th rung, which there's loads of them, they would all have to win 4 games in a row. So, yeah, I don't care really if we lose in the back end of the season. Maybe we do drop one away to GWS, or, you know, we go to play at Melbourne or Carlton, who are in good form. Maybe we do drop one. But if we do lose, like, it's not going to affect our credentials in September, because we've seen the footy that we can play and we can still rise to that level later in the year. So it's not the streak that matters right now. It's the way that we're winning games. It's the belief that I find is the most significant thing. When we're playing in the worst conditions possible in gather round, pissing down rain, nothing going our way, we just claw in and find a way to win. When we're, you know, 4 goals down against Hawthorn with 5 minutes to play, we find a way to win. When we're not kicking goals accurately against Geelong, we dig in deep, we find a way to get the job done. Brisbane at the Gabba, we go there, the biggest trip in football against the Premiers. They're coming home late and we just make big plays. That's the most important thing right now, and that's why the group is different. So that's sort of just what I wanted to say on that. Like, I don't care for the streak. It's cool. If we lose it, though, I'm not going to go, oh, we could have won 14 in a row, because we've already broken every record that we've been able to break this year. So, yeah, I rest my case.
I'm really happy you mentioned that Collingwood game, because I reckon that will go down as one of our most impressive wins this year still, a 45-39 win. And I'll give you a little story. On the weekend, World Cup was on. I had a few waters. I was in Northbridge. It was early in the morning and it was cold. I was waiting for an Uber and I resorted to Collingwood v Fremantle last 2 minutes from round 5 on my phone. And I just watched that Jai Amos goal, that Matt Johnson burst through traffic off the turnover. And it gave me goosebumps, maybe because it was cold, but it gave me goosebumps. Like, that game in particular just really sticks in my mind, because not only is that a game Collingwood have won so much over the years, but it's a game we've lost so much over the years. And so early in the season, that could have been maybe a breaking point in the footy we were playing at the time. I'm not sure why that game sticks in my mind so strongly, but really proud of that one. And I'm happy you've brought up the streak, because it doesn't mean a lot. Like, it means a lot for us fans. I'm loving it. Like, we're going for 14 in a row on the weekend. But in terms of the players' minds, they are so process-driven. The fact anyone can get a lick of the ice cream any given week, the fact our best 23 is not set, as I mentioned earlier, it's just
winning games in different ways.
Oh, it's a beautiful
roles. Yeah.
It's a beautiful place to be in. Sean Darcy still might come in the next few weeks. We can get a different look at that. And I've still got in the back of my mind that I want to learn a few lessons before finals. Like, I want to find out the hard way, mate. I'm not saying I want to lose, but if we lose, I'm not going to be angry whatsoever, because you know, we still need to figure out what our best football looks like, because I don't think we've found that out yet. And that's the really exciting thing. So, yeah, so much water to go under the bridge, and I'm really excited to see all of it go under the bridge and see what's at the end.
100%. Let's get into some quick fan questions. We've got to wrap this one pretty quickly. So, what is the difference between Freo's win streak compared to Port's 13 win streak in 2013? I think we sort of just answered that question. The win streak doesn't really mean much to us. Maybe it meant a bit more to Port, but people are throwing us in that Port basket of 2023 or Adelaide of last year. I think we're different. I think we just find ways to win. That was from Brian Antonio. Ethan asks, will Darcy play next week? I've liked Mason Cox's game enough to keep him in, but yeah, I think Sean Darcy's disposal's a lot better. Darcy's ruck craft, I think in the forward, half stoppages, I think it's pretty good. So let's bring him in. Let's give him a crack, see if he works. If not, Mason Cox is right there and can deliver at least to a decent degree. But he hasn't been able to contribute as a forward at all, Mason Cox. That was a narrative coming into his time at Freo, but he just hasn't been able to kick goals, and his disposal's been, left a little bit to be desired, but his ruck craft has been great since he's been in the side.
Well, this is the interesting thing about Sean Darcy. So he played a lot of forward for Peel on the weekend. He kicked 2 goals in the first quarter. So clearly we're trying to develop him into something more than just a pure ruck. And here, Peel won by 98 points on the weekend. He had 16 hitouts alongside Freo Faithful follower Corey Tregenza, who had 11. And he went up against former Freo duo Sebit Quek and Scott Jones in the ruck, and actually lost the ruck battle in the end. But he played a lot of forward, 16 disposals, covered the ground well. Peel won big. So yeah, I think it was a positive overall, but I'm still probably happy to leave that in the hands of the SNC staff and just get him like 100%.
Well, we're going to have to see him play at some point if he's going to get in the side. A player that we don't want to see rested, I don't reckon, is Hayden Young. I think we just have to continue to play him to get him into form, because he has battled for form a little bit. He's had really good games this year, but it's been inconsistent. So I think we've just got to play Hayden Young every week on high minutes to see if he can, we can get him primed for finals. Yep. And then Benny just said Wharfie time once again, not required because we shut the game down well. Didn't even need it in the end when it felt like we might when we were 5 goals down. Let's quickly look ahead to the Gold Coast game. Now, this one, Noah, is personal. This is war. This one, we have the scar tissue that still hasn't healed over from last year. Gold Coast, the Nepo baby of the AFL. They've been given compensation picks. They've been given all the draft picks in the world. They got given Gary Ablett Jr. They got given Damien Hardwick. Go up to the Gold Coast. It's sunny. It's fun. Go play your AFL up there. We'll give you as much money as you need. You want an entire academy of a state? Have it. Do what you want. And they still can't win games of football. So right now, my public enemy number 1 is Gold Coast. They can't win a game of football for love nor money. They got Christian Petrarca up there. They get given what they want when they want. They're the AFL's love child. They kicked us out of finals last year, and I think we need to really just put in the knife and twist it this week against the Suns.
I want to obliterate them. I'm going to be watching this game from Zagreb in Croatia at about 9:10 in the morning. It's going to be a lot of fun in the 35-degree heat. And I want them to feel the heat. I want them to feel the Croatian heat. I want them to just be absolutely obliterated. I'm on the same wavelength as you. I just don't want any mercy for these blokes. The pain we felt after that game last season. We were never winning the flag last season. We were going to get knocked out in the semi-finals last season if we made it through. But it's just the whole purpose of how arrogant we were going in, how confident we were going in. And then they ripped that away from us.
We played so shit that day.
We were shit. But no Corey Wagner, no Sam Switkowski. We had an unfit Isaiah Dudley trying to bring us home with 2 bombs from beyond 50. We were a very different team at the end of the day.
And almost found a way to win that day.
Sean Darcy was trying to make a contest down the line, but couldn't because he wasn't up to full match fitness. So, yeah. Also, they ended Nat Fyfe's career, and that's my biggest pet peeve. They killed Luke Skywalker, essentially. Yeah. So that's my biggest thing. Let's give them a hard pill to swallow.
100%. They lost a decent game to Hawthorn the other day. They were trying to, bring the tough guy. It was a bit of a argy-bargy sort of game, but they lost to North Melbourne at Marvel. They have a lot of players that are looking elsewhere. Ben King, Bailey Humphrey, there's Jed Walters, another one. There isn't cohesion in that group at the moment. they've got all the stars on paper, probably the most stacked list in the AFL from, outside of the 22, including all the academy picks. They've got Jamari Ugle-Hagan and guys like Ethan Reid running around in the twos. But yeah, they have a very dominant midfield when they connect. But since Petrarca's been in there, it hasn't really got going. Tuke Miller's had a pretty average season of footy. He's been making news in tabloid media for reasons other than football. We'll leave it at that. But it doesn't feel like a cohesive football team right now. We are the most cohesive football team. They've got a lot of good players, but I want to see Josh Tracy take a screamer over Mac Andrew to kick a goal to put us up by 45 points. That's what I'm hoping. And it's going to be on my birthday as well. So it would be a great birthday present. I've got a night out before, so I'm not going to be streaming the game. I'm going to take my birthday pretty cruisy and do the fan cams. But yeah, that's my number one birthday wish. Dockers pump the Suns.
Yeah, to be honest, I watched that Gold Coast game on Friday and thought, do they want to ball hunt anymore? Like, that's all they do. They just follow the footy and they just got no defensive accountability. I reckon we could absolutely obliterate them at the contest. It does not matter how much personnel you have. If you don't have the setup right in there, if you're a bunch of selfish wankers, that's the way I'm going to put it. If you're a bunch of selfish footballers that are just going to try and hunt the football, be arrogant, act like you're on the top of the world, then, the defensive accountability of Andrew Brayshaw and Caleb Strong and bloody Luke Jackson when he's following up and tackling you, that will shine through. So, I think if we beat... Hawthorn destroyed them at the contest. We destroyed Hawthorn at the contest. Like, 2 negatives equal a positive, and that's what's going to happen.
So there we go. Let's look forward to that. There will be previews, Wharfie Wednesday, all that stuff coming out. But we say goodbye to Noah. He's going on Honey Bombs. He's going on the trip of a lifetime, and I've got to pick up more slack, and I haven't got enough to... go enjoy it, mate. That'll be fucking incredible. Trip of a lifetime.
Thank you, mate. I'll still try to keep my face on the channel. I'll try to do the preview each week. I can't promise it, but I do not want to abandon the channel for 4 weeks. I do enjoy doing it. So, yeah, thank you, mate. I'll enjoy the European summer, for which I leave for tonight. It's freezing in Perth at the moment, so I'm quite happy to get away. But yeah, thank you, mate. And enjoy yourself on the podcast with, I believe, Zach for the next few weeks.
Yes, Zachy boy from Wharfie Wednesday will be joining me from the foreseeable future for 4 weeks. Coming in, doing the Bailey Banfield job, coming in, plugging the hole. Bailey Banfield's a great man. But yeah, we've got a big block of games coming up, and Zach is a Freo man through and through, analyses the games to a great degree. So make sure you get around the pods when Noah is away. We'll leave it there. Shout outs to the faithful. They've got a whole page to themselves now who go and support the channel. Any parting words, Noah, before you set sail for the 7 Seas?
Look, as soon as you left for Europe last season, we ended our winning streak against Sydney. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm hoping that isn't the same effect this week against Gold Coast. I hope we keep the winning streak going deep into the night and, up the Dockers.
What do they make in Croatia? What's a Croatian cuisine? Have a baguette for me.
Palachinke, these little pancakes with jam.
Yeah, have one of them for me, mate. Go enjoy yourself.
Thanks, Matt.
See you later.